I think that puts SMG in a really good position. The fact they can flex a co-op because, you know, a TA in the puck feels really good here, or even a safe lane TA could become a possibility.
Wonder if they'll go something like a Lena just to try and cover all of their bases.
Yeah, picking Lena's always feels like the safe option.
More stuns, range. They don't have anyone that's able to consistently dive you right now.
Good call.
Yeah, they do go it right. Like it's just like a catch-all basically solution to it. And SMG, will actually respond with a little bit of push. Kind of surprising that they still go into that Beastmaster.
There it is.
There we go.
Finally, they get some teams are picking some tide counters. Yeah, I think this is really good. They kind of, to me, showed the Beastmaster with the PA ban, because there was like no reason to ban PA except against the offlaners that don't want to play into PA, which to me, Beastmaster's the biggest one. There's other carries they can go for, but definitely PA's the preferred choice.
Yeah, for sure. They can just consistently look to harass out this Beastmaster as well, perhaps with a ranged hero right now, like just a position 1 that's able to deal with the boars nice and easily. What is even left in the
Troll
pool?
Warlord.
Troll.
Yeah. It's also a question of, do they want to use last pick for a support or for that carry? Because usually you have last pick of the draft, you're thinking, let's use it for our carry. So that's
something a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they know that they're going to be balling up around this Beastmaster timing with the Helm of the Dominator. For me, with SMG, like, against this lineup for OB.Neon, I'm not worried about losing towers super early on, at least until we see their last pick with their carry, right? So I think you can afford to wait until the Disruptor's at least level 6, because you know that Neon are just going to put that Tide Hunter in front of whatever lane the Beastmaster's trying to push, right? Where, at least if you've got the Disruptor level 6, you can catch him inside that Static Storm, burst him down, and then take the tower beyond that. So I wonder if, I wonder if they will actually go that strategy with the Tide Hunter, because Wyvern, in my opinion, is one of the best heroes to just stand in the trees behind the tower, launch out those Splinter Blasts, and you don't really care about a Beastmaster pushing too much.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just a fan of Wyvern in general. You were
Grandmaster?
you were asking for it all last week whenever we would see certain things coming up in drafts.
Well, whenever you see a lot of physical damage or a lot of heroes that like to clump up around, you know, a hero that builds into the Helm of the Overlord, it's always going to be very strong. And, you know, Queen of Pain, Beastmaster, they're going to be in there in the thick of things, right? So Wyvern with the Winter's Curse is going to get a lot of value.
Yeah, like the Shaker Disrupt will be positioned away from the curse, but anyone caught near that Beastmaster in his aura and gonna maybe get wailed away on by a Winter's Curse. And you're just expecting some kind of physical damage carry to come out, because it's, you know, you've got a Beastmaster. You're buffing him up, you need some tower push, you need a Roche Taker. Maybe SMG see this and decide to veer a different direction, but I don't think you just decide to change your whole draft because of a Wyvern pick. You just have to, you know, play smart, play around it a bit more.
Yeah, in this game in particular, you don't even need to get multiple stuns to follow up on something. You just need to curse someone, even just in the middle of a creep wave, so you get the full duration on it, and then you can just easily burst them down with
So I'm going to just try and repeat everything you said, Dano, because unfortunately we did lose you. So now you've got to feed it to me and try and make me sound extra smart about the Wyvern.
You can only curse one hero.
You can only curse one hero and it's still fine.
Because you've got lots of follow-up with other stuns.
With lots of follow-up and stuns. I like it. That was the TLDR of Danog's 5-head big brain.
Well, they're gonna last pick a Slark of all heroes. Mid one, he loves Slark. This is like one of these heroes that he wants to make work because of how much he enjoys the hero. It feels like something that is really lackluster.
Okay, right?
Yeah, it's meant to be. It's meant to be a Tide counter. I don't know if it's gonna work that way in practice. Before level 6, I think Slark has some laning issues.
How is Slark just, I was going to say, as a whole for a hero, and then on top of that, in this lineup?
Yeah, we're doing tier lists for players. I think Slark in the tier list of carries is like a C tier carry. It's situational. It needs to be a good Slark game. And it was a good Slark game. Then this Naga comes out. Now you've got an illusion hero to deal with. They do not have the best answer to illusions this game. Like, Shaker against Naga illusions is not the best. It's not like the illusions are all going to group up and give you that big Echo Slam or anything like that. I like this Naga pick a lot. At the same time, I thought the Slark pick was okay from SMG, but I would favor OB.Neon's draft with this last pick Naga. I think they really utilized last pick of the draft to give them a really good way to win this game.
Yeah, I think their team fight is fantastic on OB.Neon. Hopefully everyone can hear me again, by the way. And, of course, the Naga sign. With all those illusions, it's going to have a good time. So we'll see if they set themselves up correctly, make sure that the Tide Hunter's not being picked off by Roger's eventual rotations. But, yeah, I'm feeling Neon as well.
It does sound like we are all in favor of OB.Neon here, and two other things that I favor a lot are MLP and John, who will be taken away for game number 1.
Thank you very much, Natty, and it is indeed MLP, Dota, and JohnXFire. John, these intros are getting quite flattering for us, sir. I don't know if I can handle this many compliments as it gets thrown to us, but how are you feeling, sir? How are you doing?
Feeling great. You know, we had a great first series earlier in Div 2, Div 1. This one should be action-packed. SMG has been on a bit of an up and down. OB.Neon has been slowly improving, especially since Huya Cup. So the second half of the DPC has been looking a lot better for them. The draft is really exciting as well. We get another Naga game here, Mike. So we'll see if it holds up for Neon, as it did work out the last time we saw it. You know, there were some timing issues that did come into play. So it can work if you drag it towards late game. You've got the combinations as well. I mean, they've got Ravage to set up. They've got the Winter's Curse. There are combinations you can play with a song setup. So you can kind of get that done. And up against a Slark. Slark in that matchup doesn't do well. Sure, it does fine against Tide. Maybe in the laning phase, it's not that good for the Slark, especially since your melee hero is still against Tide. So Anchor Smash Gusher is still an issue. But how do you manage the Nugget? It just feels like a lot of pressure is being put on the Quap, being put onto Afu with his Shaker to kind of get the jump in, to get the AoE control. And you still have this weird back and forth with Disruptor, which every time we see it, you know, there are some games where it just does amazing amounts of control with a static storm on top, with a kinetic field. Some games where it just dies and it's forced to throw out a couple of spells before dying, and it's just not doing the work it needs to. So we'll have to see if SMG can get that positioning right for Roger as well. A lot has to kind of go right here for SMG to pull off their team fights.
Well, thank you for that, John. I feel like it's very easy for you to talk about how great the Naga is when you've got a bed right behind you, Jonathan. I haven't got that luxury. I maybe could bring a pillow or a blanket in, but that's about all I get, sir.
Yeah, well,
anyway.
You know, the floor is comfy enough, Mike. You know, it's nice and cool. It's cooler than the sauna you're sitting in right now, so, you know, that could be some relief down the line, Mike.
Yeah, but there's a bit of a bug problem in the shed, Jonathan. I don't know if we've talked about this, but there's a bit of an infestation going on. It's been rather tough for me today, John. I opened the window today. Luckily enough, a bird flew in, so I guess the bug problem may not last too long.
Jeez, are you running a sanctuary or something?
Nice
Hold
Fisher.
out, Enryu.
Yeah, Arfu on target with the Fisher. There'll be a pounce out from mid one to hold him down, but they won't have anything like a glimpse back. Enryu just going to run the old-fashioned way, and it's a fair bit of damage. Are they going to keep going? Not quite. Enryu will be able to survive throughout that damage output. Naturally, he will have to go back to the fountain for a reset, but better than dying, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Raging.
Looking.
Could be some body blocks out, but Palos wants the ball for that XP. Raging looks like he's going to be fine, but Bang, he has popped the Arctic Burn as Arfu. Going to throw out the Fisher. That'll allow him to pick up the bounty and just run his way out. It looks like he probably won't need to go back to the fountain himself for a reset. Just pop a Clarity and just remain within the laning stage and should be just fine. While we're around, John, we may as well start with the bot lane. Of course, you've got mid one there on the Slark with Roger on the Disruptor. Going to be up against Enryu on that Tide and Narman, of course, on that line. John, the panel was kind of discussing the fact that the Slark should have an advantage against the Tide Hunter. Mind you, though, for level 1, you do have that pounce up, so you aren't going to have the Essence Shift available here for mid 1.
Yeah, Roger's already dropping low as well from this chase.
Yeah, that he is, Roger. Scarily low now as Narman having a look around for an angle for the Earth Spike, still pump faking as he does eventually land it. Advantage or not, John, in terms of hero matchups, Enryu is able to pick up first blood.
That's big for the side of Neon. So Enryu's going to have a little bit more going his way. He could rush his Soul Ring if he wants it, go for the Phase Boots, have a little bit more presence. Even the early Ring of Health is going to help him massively. So you have a lot to kind of get that ball rolling now for Enryu. It's one of those things, again, with Disruptor. You toss out Thunder Strike, And if there's no follow-up damage from your core, then it can kind of feel lacking. You do have the Mangrous to sustain that harassment for Roger, so you can pump out the spells for a lot. Mamang Daya's got a bug, Mike. A bug in game, but maybe a bug in like you do.
Oh, grow up, Mamang Daya. One bug, that's what you're worried about? So I'm literally getting bitten as we speak, Jonathan. This is the kind of conditions I'm working in now. Mamang Daya is worried about a bug. Probably in game, though, to be fair. So, I mean, fair enough, Mamang Daya. Have your reconnection, sir. Oh, we have cameras. Very, very nice. Mamang Dai, bug. He is fixing his hair, John, so there may have been a bug around. We're watching you, sir. Be very, very careful. It looks like he is going to be all right.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like a, flying cockroach sort of bug pause, which I do miss. Shout out to Ice 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 when those used to happen on Fnatic. They happen frequently as well, every now and again, so no such thing. Reconnects back, and again, back to that lane. Roger can be quite aggressive, but once he's out of mana, that's where the window opens up for Narman and Enryu. And once you do have mana drain as well, Roger's not going to feel very safe in that lane. Without spamming the spells out, this Rupper is kind of dead weight there.
Yeah, Roger's very lucky that Enryu did not have mana for Gush, otherwise that probably would have been a secondary death here for the Disruptor. Mid one, now just going to try and man fight with Enryu, and of course we've seen the Tide. You just can't really trade farm here, or trade right clicks rather, with mid one. So it can just be quite detrimental to your side of things. It does feel like as well, John, this is probably going to be the most action-packed lane, I'd say, right? Like, I suppose you could see kills happening at top lane as well, but chances are the bot lane is where all the action's going to be happening.
Yeah, it's because that's where the disparity in power comes in. You have more control coming out from Neon. Good wall, though.
A good kinetic field as they do pick up Narman, though Pounce is going to be expended. So I think you would have liked to save that Pounce to go after Enryu and maybe find a double, but nevertheless, mid one, he's going to get his nice little perma-agi and a free kill for himself, so I'm sure he's going to be very satisfied.
It's starting to rack up. It gives us a chance to look at the other lane. So up top, of course, you've got Raging on his Beastmaster, we've seen him play multiple times, along with Afu's Shaker. So it's a dual melee lane up against a Naga, not the comfiest in terms of zoning out that Naga Siren. And that does allow Abeng to actually just roam around. He could look for those early stacks being built up in the jungle. That's something our Naga can clear out very early on. I think level 5 is actually a pretty good point. Level 6 is ideal. But you can start clearing it out with a Mirror Image and Riptide. And again, Palos isn't being zoned out too hard. Like, the boars are annoying, but Naga has pretty high base move speed. She can kind of play with a Mirror Image. She can hunt down those boars as well. You don't really have that potential to be too aggressive here, and that is leading to a slower start for Raging. And this could be bad news specifically for Afu. Like, we've talked about his Shaker a lot. The last time we saw it, blink timing is key for him. He sets the pace for his team on that hero.
And that he does. So far, quiet across the map now. Again, Enryu falling quite low on the Tide, but he's going to be just fine. And Palos doing a pretty good job on the Naga as well right now. I mean, 23-7, just no contest for him on that Naga Siren. So, happy days for OB.Neon. Meanwhile, mid lane, as you can see, both heroes quite low at the moment. And Moon really giving it the way of Mamang Daya, but as the laner, you should have that inevitable kind of advantage in terms of the hero matchup. So Moon just has to play a little bit more carefully than say, Mamang Daya does. Meantime, top lane, they are going to make a bit of a jump in and try to attempt taking Palos' life, but Raging's the one in trouble now. He's going to be able to walk his way out, though, and be just fine. Of course, while that was happening, mid one and Enryu were going at it, but nothing will come of it. In fact, mid one's the one that's forced to back off on the Slark, so while he is still farming very well, it doesn't seem like he has that big an advantage as they make the jump in now onto Roger. Roger saving himself with the kinetic field, but the creep gets in the way, and Narman's going to be able to pick up the kill. As mid one now, he might at least be able to trade, and he does. A worthwhile trade for the way of SMG. I suppose you have to be happy with that one.
Definitely are. Second charge of permanent Agi coming out from mid one. He's getting level advantage over our Tide now, so he's going to be able to hold that lane. Once he's level 6, as mentioned by Parker, that's when this really starts to open up for the Slark. He's going to be able to regen back, go back in lane, keep farming. Tide has only so much mana, especially since he has skipped the early Soul Ring here. So you're not going to have that sustain to just keep spamming out your spells, and it makes it harder to pressure out the Slark if that early level 6 does come true. And is lining up for SMG. The mid lane, as we're still seeing, is still kind of going back and forth. Mamang Daya is copying a lot for Ras. Very even in CS, slight advantage coming out for Daya in terms of creeps found, but Moon has a little bit more and denies as well. So very even. Level 6 Spike is the big one. Laguna and Sonic Wave are both really big burst spells. I think both sides could play around that timing, and Mamangdai does reach his slightly earlier, but they don't really have the setup to play with that yet.
Top lane, Palos, he'll be chased down, but the Fisher, this time around, not actually going to block Palos out of that top lane, so he's going to be able to walk away. Of course, I feel on that signature Earthshaker, quite intimidating to have to go into here for OB.Neon. Bit of a rare mistake there with the Fisher, just missing out on Palos' life, but that won't matter too much as Arfu now, he'll make the rotation down mid. And like you mentioned, John, you've got those level 6 marks up now for Moon and Mamangdai, so you expect a kill attempt to happen now as Mamangdai, he's going to try and go for the stun. Will miss out. Looks like Arfu, he won't bother trying to move in for a Fisher anyway. Go back up to the top lane instead and look for another kind of angle to try and approach taking the life of Mamangdai.
Yep. It's not quite characteristic of Afu's usual Earthshaker plays. We know he loves to get those rotations, loves setting up for Moon, finding those kills. It's Neon who's actually wrapping around here. Narman's ready with the light.
Uh-oh, Earth Spike is going to land into the Light Strike Array. The damage output is not there yet, but they have the Laguna, and that's going to be enough. Great rotation in from Narman. Moon just not expecting it, and Roger, he's not able to get there in time to help out.
Big kill to kind of open up that lane for Mamangdai with a Siege Creep on hand as well. There's some decent chip damage they could do on that mid-tier 1. At the very least, Roger's trying to soak up some EXP. He can't really D-push by himself, and that's already half the HP gone. So next time around, if fight breaks out, Neon might be able to clean up that early objective, open up the map more, and start to shut out SMG from building up here. Roar up on top, though.
Yeah, Moon's rotated. They really want the life of Palos, and they do have the Sonic Wave to make sure that they are able to secure. And you had Arfu coming in with the Fisher anyway, but they don't want to risk Palos getting away from that. Very important kill now for SMG, and should allow them to try and set up for this top tier 1.
They can get a bit of a shove in with the Boars. You do have some good D-push with Bang, but he's getting jumped here.
That he is. Arfu will chase him down, and they have the cancellation for the TP. Another nice setup here for our Shaker, as now you're almost guaranteed this tier 1 tower. I mean, mind you, you are trying to take this out without a siege creep, but you still have a Beastmaster. That's just as good.
Yeah. You've got a lot of damage from the Boars. You've got the added attack speed with the Aura. They can kind of go for that early tower trade. This could open up Neon to shove in mid once more, as Mamangdai and Narman are still hanging around the area. Knowing that the big cores aren't there, they could kind of try to chip in. Not quite the fastest process, though. Mamangdai needs to spam the spells out for the Fiery Soul, and his creep wave is kind of dying off. Good wave clear coming out from Roger as well in the early levels to kind of keep that in check. So they can't go for a direct trade, and that does give SMG more to play with. They can invade the stacks. They did have early wards in the top jungle, not there anymore. But they know where Palos is playing, and that means when they have the opportunity, they can get that rotation out to shut him down.
And while you were speaking, John, you had an attempt there from mid 1 to try and take down Enryu, but even with the shadow dance, he just was not able to get it done. You're still able to walk away, and he's doing a pretty darn good job on this Tide of just staying alive. His farm is struggling on the Tide Hunter, but he's still finding those levels in XP. And your mid 1 is now level 8 on the Slark, so getting very close to picking up that Echo Saber. In fact, he has just picked it up. And look at all those farms to take here from Moon. So all those stacks being taken by the Queen of Pain. No one to stop him. You love to see that.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. Neon did have that forward ward watching the triangle. They need the stacks to be there. They didn't really have the heroes to throw out. They are still focusing mid, though. They really want that mid tier 1, just constantly shoving it in. There has to be a response from SMG because it's not far away from dying here.
I mean, SMG were quite focused on trying to take down Enryu bot lane, but like you mentioned, John, they just go after the mid-tier 1 instead, and they've got it. Not something you quite expect from the draft of OB.Neon, but again, their attention was down a bot, so OB.Neon, they get a freebie.
And that allows them to take control of just a little bit more of that jungle, roam into the triangle now as well, a little bit easier. They haven't taken that bot tier 1, so the forward part of that bot jungle isn't quite opened up. But they can start to get to work next on that area. They could just rotate in there, get some more space out for Palos. Raging has done a good job of just controlling the top jungle. With a Beastmaster, he's got the Dominator up. He can pressure in that top lane as well to force a response out if need be. But it's a really even game. They get the roar out into Palos, though.
That they do. The Naga in trouble again with the double stun out from Raging. It is just him by himself, but there is more help incoming. In the meantime, a bang, he does actually get denied off by Mamangdaya mid lane. Roger looking for that glimpse back, but he's not going to be able to get it as Palos. Very happy to get away from that situation. He'll be just fine.
Manages to bail out in the nick of time. So that's Roar committed for a non-kill. Cooldown's not so long. They are still, again, rotating onto Enry with off in mid one, though.
Fisher out. It's just not going to mean much. Mid one. He's unable to chase down the tide. 4-3 the way of SMG, but there is a slight net worth lead going towards OB.Neon. I suppose you've got to keep in mind that mid one is still top of the net worth board and it's still just farming up quite freely. Right into the Aghanim Scepter as well, John, this Slark. So just wants that mobility, and I guess that does indicate that he is looking to fight rather early on.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen the Ags rush Slark. I think we've seen a lot more Echo Saber, Shadow Blade, Silver Edge build up. But this, as you mentioned, the mobility will allow you to jump around, to control the fights for your team, can just force this really fast game, which Naga might not be ready for. We know the Naga build-up is super slow. It takes a long time. The last game we saw it in Div 2 was a little bit longer. They do make a move, though. Bang.
That they do. A very nice setup there from Roger on the Disruptor. Just setting up by himself and allowing Moon a very free kill on the Queen of Pain. His top lane, Palos, being chased down here by Raging, but no Roar to fly at us. Towards the south, they've gone on another instead. Mamangdaya getting caught by the Echo of Arfu. That should be the Lina gone, and it will be. Narman, all he can do is try to run. He'll get a bounty for his trouble, but that's about all he's going to get as Moon will take the double. Another great setup here from Arfu.
Finding big pickoffs they need now on the side of SMG. They're the ones starting to apply some pressure in the map while Neon are trying to just build up and farm. Even down bot, Enryu again. It's a great block. That's a great block from Arfu. Enryu, he's going to pop the Ravage and try to survive this. The rotation is in from Palos, who will help out, but they have the Shadow Dance, and Enryu is still being chased down. He is not dead yet, though. Mid one, he can't get the final right click off, so mid one needs to run, but Palos is going to cut him off and try to get the body blocks going. It's not going to be enough, though. The pounce is there, but a bang. He's out with the Winter's Curse now, locking down the Slark once again, but Arfu going to try and help. It's just not going to be enough. In fact, they've got a secondary target to go after. As the Laguna and the Finger both fly out. And Enryu, I don't know how he keeps walking out of these situations, John, but he walks out another time. Those were some great illusion blocks coming out from Palos, just buying that space needed for Enryu to walk away. SMG kind of make use of that space bot out with mid one. They shove in the mid tower just a bit. They can't clean it up. And it's a big sacrifice to make, putting your Slark up front like that, getting punished hard. They are still shoving in the top tier 2 as well with Raging Potato though. So this might pay off. I don't know if they'll really find the full objective, but the pressure is flying in, and that push does go fast for the Beastmaster.
They're going to try again onto the tide. Static Storm will be there with the kinetic field. Mid one. Some of the right clicks, and there's your pig out, but this time around, surely they've got him. Enryu completely blocked in and will finally die. Harmon, Mamangdaya unable to really keep their tide alive this time around. We'll have to just watch him slowly be chipped away at. See what OB.Neon can get done here down to the spot lane, but Roger, he's having a look for a glimpse back again. Just needs the vision, and there's your Tumbler's Toy to get the vision out. Nice Fisher again from Arfu onto 2 heroes. Mamangdaya, he is still surviving. In fact, he turns around for a Laguna Blade, but it's not going to be enough. Mid one with a Shadow Dance will make sure they take down this mid laner. Another very satisfying kill here for SMG.
Those are big kills. They're committing a lot of resources bot to find them, but because they're fighting bot, it's freeing up mid. They took the mid tier 1 here on SMG's end. Top tier 2 not long left as well, with Roger just Raging just constantly shoving it in with his creeps as well. So if they do manage to find that free tier 2 because of all the movement down bot, that opens up the outpost, opens up the Roshan down the line. Their lineup might not be the quickest for the Slark. They can still get done with control they would have. And Neon's just in a very tight spot where their Naga's still farming. This farm space is starting to get a little bit limited with how the map is kind of held by SMG. They don't have their top jungle. They don't really have the bot jungle as well. Palos is just playing in the triangle. Very limited space to build up. But he's keeping up. Within 100 gold to Slark, just down to the fact that Slark does not flash farm all too well. Neon gonna try to buy that space out here, Mike. They do go for a smoke though.
They do. SMG have smoked up as well, and they have found out Enryu again. With the Static Storm to be committed, they'll try to burst him down in time, but keep in mind, he has the Ravage, and Narman's there to save the day, but the Raw's out now. Raging, holding him down, but Enryu's still surviving. Moon will finally get rid of him. There's a bang. Commits the Winter's Curse, but here comes mid one. Zmamangdaya tries to get rid of Moon, but he times the Laguna too early. I believe he hit him mid-Winter's Curse, and that means no damage was taken here for Moon.
That's big. They kill off the big cores once more. On SMG side, they managed to punish Neon for constantly trying to run up into that top jungle. They just don't have the control here on Neon's end. And with those kills, this should enable Raging to just take the tier 2. Fortify is forced out. But they've got a lot of room on the map to play now. Even the mid's being shoved in by mid one. Palos, again, stuck in the bot lane, just stuck trying to build up on this Naga, trying to get big. It's still a long ways off till we get the item spikes necessary on the Naga to carry you through this game. Like Moon has the full Kaya's Sanj up, very durable, lots of damage coming through as well. Woodquap jumping in. And you don't have anything comparable yet on Neon. No big item up yet for Daya. Abeng still a long ways off from the Holy Locket, and even the Aether Lancer blink up to help with the initiation, not quite there. Did you at least find mid one?
Yeah, it was Narman. They had the finger, they had plenty of damage, and mid one just getting a little bit too excited. On that southern side of the map is Roger now. He will be chased down by Palos, and the ensnare is going to be there. Should be a nice secondary kill here for the side of OB.Neon. They will be able to pick that one up, no problem. Thing is, you do have the Ags up now on mid one, so it is some decent timing here for this itemization. Thing is, OB.Neon though, they'll go for a big smoke up without the Slark or Roger on the Disruptor available.
Good scan.
Very good scan out, but it's all too late. Raging, he's still being caught by the Earth Spike. Raw is available, but he's got no real help around. Or maybe he does, because he's actually surviving throughout all this. Raw is there. Raging is still surviving. They can't deal with him. Echo's out now. Arfu, he's going to force the Ravage. Can they keep going? Fisher's there to block in. Palos is now. Moon jumps in, but no, the curse. Right away from a bank to make sure Moon cannot clean up, and now the Laguna comes in. Mid one. He's going to try and fight himself, but the song is there. Palos will have none of it. As Roger, he'll look for a glimpse back. It is max level glimpse. They seem to really want Enryu. They are going to find somebody. No, it's going to be Palos, a much bigger target, but they don't have the damage. Not as two heroes. Not quite yet. Mid one. Still feeling confident to try and fight with this Aghanim Scepter up, but he is out of charges. OB.Neon, that'll be enough, but a successful team fight here for the Dire. Wasn't a great start, but they were patient enough to make it work.
And they're finding their openings now by just playing together as a team. They've got the levels, the curse is doing a lot of work. They kind of still need an initiation item on Enryu to maybe set up for them. But even without that, as long as Abeng has that Winter's Curse ready, there's always going to be some counterplay coming in. I love that Enryu is actually going for the Halberd as well, because that's the one big way you have of keeping that Slark in check. You can't purge that off. Still, with all those big spells being expended, SMG feel confident enough to go to Roche. They know there's no curse up for a few more seconds. They know there's no Ravage for about a minute. Roshan, again, with a Beastmaster, doesn't take too long to clean up.
Certainly doesn't, John. Gonna be Roshan to go the way of SMG. In OB.Neon, they are still very reliant on Palos just keeping that farm going, and well, for now, Palos will keep working on towards the Eye of Skadi. The rest of OB.Neon will just kind of surround him and make sure the Naga does remain safe.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
SMG, seems like they want to keep pushing, John. I mean, they've got the Helm of the Overlord with the Aegis. You may as well just keep it going.
Nothing to stop it. Like, as long as one of those big team fight spells are down, the counter fight from Neon kind of breaks up. They at least have the curse to play with, but they're on the wrong side of the map. SMG's just camping mid, looking to keep that shove in, while Neon can't even find that bot tier 1. They just don't fully commit for it. They back off at the last second, going for the defense fight instead with the TPs here.
They've got Ravage in 8 seconds though, so Static Storm is going to be landed. Glimpse back onto Palos, but that's not really going to help out the cause. They've still set up with the Song, and now Ravage is back up, so Enryu can just pop it, but they've only got one target. They only got Raging. They'll still burst him down, however. In fact, Arfu also to drop to Narman. They've even found Roger. Another nice pickup here for OB.Neon. using the song to their advantage. And, well, to be fair, John, SMG, they were fighting without mid one. Mid one was down at bot lane this whole time.
Yeah, that's where the split up of Neon kind of came into play. They retreated right as mid one was going in to defend at bot tier 1, maybe looking for a solo pickoff. And without the power of the Slark, it became a bit dicey. They did have, you know, they might have felt like they had enough damage with Moon. But you have to respect that team fight. You have to respect that Ravage coming out from Enryu. Static Storm came out early from Roger, gave enough time for Neon to just come in, bail out the tide, and turn that fight around. They didn't even have the Winter's Curse in that fight. I think Abeng was stuck in the bot lane helping clean up that kill on Afu. So those tools weren't even aligned. If you had the curse up, you might have been able to pin down Moon, and that fight goes a very different way. We are reaching the point where the scaling up of our Naga is becoming an imminent reality here, Mike. The Scotty is almost done. You can go for the heart. You can go a million different ways. You could go for Diffusal. You could just look to tank up, and the question starts to come in. Does the Slark hold up against the Naga? I'm not sure. We haven't seen this matchup in a long time. I think the Naga will still have that natural advantage. Mid one?
Mid one, he's going to jump right in. And he's got those pounce charges, so again, he's feeling very confident, along with that Aegis up. Back on Enryu he goes. The pounce didn't really latch on, but they've got the glimpse back now with the vision. Static Storm is up there, not committing quite yet. They're just getting those stacks up on mid one, and now he is really starting to get some damage done as the Fisher is going to block Enryu in again. They just love going after this tide as the Sonic Wave flies in now, and they finally got him down. But now great Winter's Curse out onto Moon.
Oh.
It might not be enough though, and it won't be. They've even found a bang on the Winter Wyvern. Make that a third, because Narman, he will drop to mid one. SMG, they might have enough time to actually get a tier 3 tower down. In fact, never mind. They've still got to go back for a tier 1, tier 2. They've got no creeps.
Yeah, they kind of jumped the gun in cutting that creep wave off. They were making their way to the tier 3, and they realized, alright, no, towers still stand. They will go for a smoke. They know they can kind of pin down these two other cores without the supports. Mamang Daya and Palace have to be careful here.
Afu, blink up, could make the jump in on the Lena, and they do. They get the glimpse back into the Echo Slam, making sure no games are there, but the song was out in time, so Palos now looking to turn around as Moon. He'll blink away, but Afu will be left behind. Great little song there from Palos to buy more time. Mamang Daya in the end able to get the BKB off and survive.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if that BKB was completely necessary. It did dodge the stun of Afu, and they managed to turn it around. So respawns are up for Neon. Very even game so far, Mike. 16-15. The state of the map is also relatively even. Maybe a slight advantage for SMG having one tier 2 taken out. But OB.Neon are still finding that farm, finding the escalation they need to get their win condition and Palos up and running. Scotty's done. Hasn't queued up what's next. Could be Diffusal, could be Heart. Might just look to tank up, as it doesn't feel like damage is an issue yet. On the side of SMG, big thing for them is, sure, it's important to find Enryu. I think Abeng is probably the bigger issue here. You want to take out the Winter Wyvern. The curses have been on point. Even Narman is a really good target, preventing the Hex, preventing the Earth Spike from coming in to set up for those bigger stuns. Those are the ones you kind of need to go for. They've been constantly throwing out the Static Storm on Enryu. Him alone is enough. Like, you can't just afford to block off Enryu from Ravage, because that feels like a follow-up stun. The big starters for these fights are almost always from Narman or Abeng.
SMG, they've smoked up again here, John. Narman and Abeng both can be spotted, so Moon will make the jump in, but the Cold Embrace is out onto Narman, keeping him alive. Static Storm being committed. Narman still able to force stuff in time. Moon does not want to commit the Sonic Wave, and now the Light Strike Array. It's going to land by Mamang Daya, and the curse is out as well. Has it saved the day for SMG? Not quite, as the Ravage is there to make sure Moon does remain locked down. Still raging, able to get the roar off in time, but there is no follow-up to it. He just wants to run. It's mid one. He'll switch places with the Beastmaster. Back in onto Enryu they go. Raging, he'll try for the TP, but is not going to make it in time. And now they even found the Slark out. Mid one, completely trapped up, and he will be the fourth to drop. As Palos will pick up another kill for himself in this Naga. And that'll be a 3k net worth advantage to OB.Neon.
You gotta love that Orchid pickup here on Palos. He knows there's a window where once the Slark pops a Dark Pack, silence him up, really easy to control. The Ags is not going to do anything to help him save there. And there's no defensive item yet here for mid one. So it's really easy to pin down the Slark. He's reliant so much on that Dark Pack, and that makes it really easy to punish. 3k lead coming out from Neon here. Nagas aren't starting to be a massive issue. They had a right idea on SMG's side, jumping that line first, but they didn't commit the damage. And that Cold Embrace just stalled out that fight long enough that OB.Neon again brought in the numbers and just counter-fighted to their heart's content. Winter's Curse plus Ravage is such a big combination. And for SMG, most of their AoE control, it's really on Roger. You could maybe count Afu. He's had some really good fissure blocks. But it feels like their initiation's really on Roger, finding someone and dropping Static Storm. It's just hard to find multiple heroes clumped up. Neon's been very disciplined to split up here.
Been doing a fantastic job.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
It does feel like unless you catch Palos as well, you're always going to have that song to rely on to just save everyone. So we've seen multiple times this game, and SMG, they are well and truly behind now. 4k net worth advantage to be exact for OB.Neon, but you look at Mamang Dai, you look at that Palos Naga Siren, they are just really pulling ahead of this Slark, and we've just seen this before. I mean, Slark is just one of those heroes that doesn't really play the best from behind. That's exactly where SMG are right now. They could go for a smoke up. They are remaining grouped up. But it seems like they just want to make sure mid one is able to hit some creeps. They'll just stand behind him. Make sure he does remain safe. OB.Neon though, they're not really in a big rush. They're happy to just keep Palos farming. I mean, this is what Naga Siren does best.
Yeah, and they get some split push going as well here from SMG, so they're forced to respond on Neon's side. Raging just popping the roar to ensure that he could get that little shove in, keeping Mamang Dai in check. So they won't have the roar for the next fight, but it's a fairly short cooldown at this point. They are stalling out well enough. That mid one does have his own Scotty up. So he's got more stats, a nice slow healing reduction to kind of counteract that Cold Embrace here, and kind of just removing some of that durability from the side of Neon. I don't know how much that will help up against Palos in a direct fight though. It does still feel like the Naga is expected to win that, and the Butterfly is almost done for Palos as well. Once that's up, we've seen just the last series we were watching, Mike, Butterfly and Naga against certain cores that don't love going MKB, that just ruins them. And Slark can go MKB. It's a long way off for mid one if he does want to pivot in that direction though.
And Ryu's got the Ags up now as well, and you've got that big Butterfly now on Palos. The game just becomes so much more difficult for SMG now as the luxury items are starting to come out for OB.Neon. They'll go for a 5-man smoke up. Towards that Roshan pit they go. And Rosh is not available though, to be fair. OB.Neon. They'll go towards the north of the map and see if they can find Raging up. Raging Potato, he's been here the whole time basically. It's even a 2-for-1 special with that top lane because Moon is also around. It looks like they have been spotted out, perhaps as Mamang Dai is trying to make his way over. Raging, he'll TP in time. Moon, he'll just stay invis, and there's no detection laying around here, so Moon should remain unsighted here by OB.Neon, and he does. So the smoke amounts to nothing.
Taking back the outpost will open up that Roshan a lot better for Neon. 5 seconds away, they've got control near the Rosh pit. They've got the AoE control for that as well. They could look for one pick off, go into Roshan, just get running from there, look for objectives afterwards. They take control of the triangle. They are playing under SMG wards, so SMG knows exactly what's up, but not for long. V wards are in, Rosh respawns. Neon, they could just take this pit. They could come in, they've got the song to save, they've got the Ravage, they've got the Curse, so much AoE control in such a tight spot. They have to find the angle here on SMG.
Dire.
It's that Shadow Blade to break the smoke, and they'll just make sure they can take that Ancient Creep down first. Roshan's still very healthy. Afu, Echo in, he's found the Wyvern, and he's even found the Lion, but they have not got the damage yet. The song will make it in time here from Palos, and now they can just turn right back around with a Ravage setup. They'll try and take down the Shaker. Naaman's gone to boot. Roger, he'll be the third to drop. A bang, he is still alive, and now the Curse comes out. They've got Moon trapped up and locked down, and look at the damage output. They'll get rid of him. I mean, Moon does drop. If they go in for more, Raging Potato trapped on the high ground. Arfu, though, he brought back, trying to make his way back into the team fight, but Raging Potato's already gone. Mid one. He'll go back in after Mamang Daya. Here comes the buyback from Moon, but who are we aiming? Glimpseback is there. Sonic Wave out. It does connect on 3. That'll be Mamang Daya gone. Maybe they can still win this team fight. SMG, they may be able to do it. The Palos, he's out of there in time. They'll get Enryu down, but it's still going to be a 4 for however many buybacks were expended. What does it matter though, Jonathan? Because SMG, they could go right after Roshan.
Yeah, and this opens up a lot for SMG. It looked a bit shaky in that last fight. They had the right idea, jumping the Wyvern and Lion first. Really big targets with that slam out from Apu. Just not enough follow through. Still, they win out in the end with the buybacks. They will take Roche number 2. Free Ag Shard coming out here as well. Wonder who they hand that off to. It feels like if it's with mid 1, this changes the fights, and it does go his way. So the Depth Shroud is there. The AoE Shadow Dance to break up these fights. That's going to complicate things here for Neon. They do have some AoE control. Again, they've got the Curse, they've got Ravage, they've got LSA, Earth Spike. But are you going to have that every single time the Depth Shroud is popped? That's what makes it tricky. Still, Palos does hit his own item spike into the Ags. So he's got the Ensnare through BKB, Ensnare through the Song, and just makes it easier to control through that Song setup. Lower cooldown as well means it's going to be more spammable. So more openings up, more ways for Neon to play independent of that Curse, of that Ravage, and they will go for a smoke. Smoke into this Aegis can be a bit risky, but perhaps Neon doesn't feel too dissuaded from that last fight.
Even the ads up on Palos now, just so much more lockdown. Mid one, oh, he's run right into them. He did have the Dark Pack going at the least, so he's able to just pounce his way out. And it looks like the chase won't be on. They'll wait for another time. SMG still respecting how strong OB.Neon are with this draft at the moment. It's SMG. Kick back, keep those lanes pushed out. So mid one, he is moving into that triangle. He'll pounce right in now. I'm not sure about this one, mid one. I mean, he's got the Aegis up, but this is a very risky play he's making. Shadow Dance is there. I suppose he could always pounce out, but now the silence is out, so he's locked down. Can they actually get the damage in time? No, the Echo Slam, Afu's in, but Ravage is there as well. They've got the Aegis, but they found Palos. Alright, it ends up paying off for mid one, as they might go for a little bit more. Mamang Daya, he'll be glimpsed right back into the loving arms of Roger. And a bang, he will just be trapped up on the cliff. No escape for OB.Neon. And John, none of these heroes have buyback. I don't know how that play works, but it does.
They managed to get the catch out. I think the big thing was they caught Palos. They might find more in the base here. Oh, Norman.
Wow.
4 staff.
4 staff. Barely allowing him to get out of there. I suppose they can't really go high ground yet, John, unless they want to try and rotate to the top lane. They could certainly look for those other tier 2 towers, but no, they aren't going to commit towards that top lane. The only lane open for the tier 3. And mid one, he'll get started.
Dire's top tower is
He's
under
got
attack.
a decent amount of Essence Shift stacks. Not the highest we've seen. There is some deep push here from Enryu, so he can clear out the creep wave and kind of prevent too much damage for coming out. This makes it a lot simpler to kind of hold that lane. They should still be able to find something new. The shard is up on Raging though, so the Hawks will be a constant nuisance. They take the tier 3, they can't find any more. Respawns are fairly short on side of Neon, so they've got the counter fight. That does give SMG the slight network advantage now, and you have to really consider your positioning here if you're Palos. He was very far forward. He already saw that glimpse come out. He ran into the team of SMG and got punished for it. He doesn't have anything like the BKB. He only really has that Manta to try and dodge out spells, so he's very vulnerable to the magic damage coming through. And you have to respect that. There's a lot. There's that Static Storm. There's the Sonic Wave, the Scream of Pain. All of that can make short work of the Naga if she's isolated. Neon, though, will just go smoke and kind of go hunting once more.
That they will. They're going to find, though.
Radiant's middle tower.
Mid one's
is
still
under
hanging
attack.
around that Dire jungle just across the map. The OB.Neon may have got a bit of a whiff that the Slark is around somewhere. Made their way up. You're going to run right into mid one, but mid one, he'll just man up and fight. Not concerned whatsoever about the tide. Meanwhile, a smoke on the other side. They're wrapping around. Arfu in the front. Wards down. Palos. It's going to be spotted here by Arfu, but they won't make the jump in yet. In fact, Fisher is there now into the Roar, surely of Raging, but no, they've got the Static Storm out. Now the Roar's there, but the Cold Embrace is going to save. Sonic Wave not enough to take him out, but the Echo Slam is there. Arfu has enough damage, and now they can just chase for the others. A Bang trapped in that tree line. He's going to go down, and Arfu, he even found another. Enryu on that tide. Looks like he's going nowhere. The Hawk Dive is going to connect. Kraken Shell does save for a little bit, but ultimately not for long. As SMG now, they can go back onto that high ground and finish off that top racks.
Yeah, they've got a massive opening here. Creep Wave is very far out, though. They don't have any creeps, so they're going to have to go through back door, but they'll get there eventually. They will eat right through. Respawns aren't too far for Neon, but that is still the racks going down. Melee racks up top. Going to focus in on mid. Now with a Creep Wave slowly coming in. Again, they're still having to dig through back door, but with all the Agi, with all the attack speed auras, and even that buff from the Thunderstrike Ag Shard, it seems to be enough damage to make short work here. So, Neon, it all boils down to Palace's position. Like, he was too far forward, he had no backup, and he just gets picked off.
Mid one, right in onto a Bang. That'll be a Wyvern gone, though he does have buyback as they try to burst down mid one. They've almost got him down, and they've got him. No buyback available for mid one to rejoin this team fight. He has gone too far. Roger, well, he's going to drop along with his carry. Raging at least able to get himself out. Mind you, John, they did get 2 lanes of racks, so I'm sure they're still satisfied, but they'd probably prefer not to lose mid one like that.
Yeah, it's a really aggressive jump forward, not quite respecting those very imminent respawns from Neon. They do manage to get some good punishment out. A very dicey position for Neon, though. 2 melee racks down. Range racks not as important. Lanes will definitely now shove out. Up against a Beastmaster, there's a lot of split push potential here for SMG to keep that pressure up. Neon will go for a smoke play. They really have to drag Palos back a bit. Like, he is way too far forward for a hero that doesn't want to carry BKB. And if he does get caught out again, that could spell the end. He just bought out the full Bloodthorn. He doesn't have buyback in time soon, and if SMG manages to find that sneaky pickoff, that could be the end here.
And after, Raw is there. Palos still trying to move in onto Raging. We'll be able to find one. Moon unable to get the Sonic Wave in time. Another great pickoff here for OB.Neon, and they should be able to go high ground now. They're going to try at least. And that death from mid one has proven to be very costly now for SMG. They should at least lose the tier 3, but the Glyph is going to buy enough time, and mid one will respawn up. Do they want to keep it going, though? Seems like they do. Enryu, he'll go up that tier 3 along with Mamang Daya, but mid one, he'll happily jump in and force the fight right now. Light Strike Ray is there with the Earth Spike, though, but Enryu, he's dropping very low. Cold Embrace is going to save for now, as Enryu is healing up, but the Winter's Curse is blocked. Lincoln's was there, and that'll be your tide. No, he does drop. The Static Storm was enough. As Palos now try to run and just TP out, is going to make it. But they're looking for more. A Bang. Nice, spotted out too late there by Arfu. But SMG now running right through the mid lane once again.
Yeah, they've got the lane advantage still, so they can look for the push. They can look to clean up those range racks just to really solidify their position. Unfortunately for them, Roche is a bit of a longer respawn. That is fortunate for Neon, as you will have Enryu back for that next fight. Mid one has to be a bit careful up front, but the silence on Palos doesn't take too much to lock him in.
Broke the Lincolns this time around. Line Strike Ray with the Echo Slam. Afu! He's in again. He'll try to save mid one. He survives through all this damage, and now they can just move right back in. Mamang Dai is just giving so many stats away, back the way of the Slark. But there is no escaping. Not from this Earthshaker. Palos has been left behind. Bang will try to heal him up. He does not have Song up, though, and that's going to be his own death. No buyback available as mid one gives the tips over. And Palos is not such a lucky man right now, John.
Oh no, definitely not. He bought out that Bloodthorn. We were just seeing it when he bought it up, Mike. If he dies, that could be the end. They already forced the buyback from Mamang Dai. They're going straight for the tier 4s. Mid one has a lot of essence shift. This does not take too long to rip through the objectives.
Dire structures are fortified.
Mid one. Remember what happened last time, mid one? Very careful, sir. Zafu's looking for the jump in, but doesn't connect with the Fisher. And you've got that AoE gush with the Ags up, so you can defend quite nicely with it. But mid one, look at the amount of damage he's doing right now, John. 37 stolen stats here from the side of OB.Neon, as Moon now is the one to get caught out, but they land the Fisher, and that'll be Mamang Daya. Ravage has been committed, but there's no one there to follow up, as Enry's just been tossed around like a ragdoll. And there's your GG call. OB.Neon, they've seen enough. Game 1 is going to go the way of SMG.
Oh, man, that was a really back and forth game. Neon, it felt like they had control from the early game onwards. I mean, by the mid game onwards, they were getting their momentum up. Palos had a good amount of farm to build up, but SMG just held on, had confidence in mid one, you know, becoming that big 1-4, and they managed to make it work out really well. I think for Neon, there were a couple of mistakes there. Palos was out of position like in 2 big fights, and he was immediately burned apart. Like, without the BKB, you're so susceptible to that static storm as a core. You can't, it's not easy to try to man-to dodge out of that wall as well. It's very specific. And they just had to follow through there from the side of SMG. There was some good team fight coming through from Neon. They had Ravage, they had Curse, they had a lot of ways to work it, but every single time when Palos dies first, all that control was for naught because there was no follow-up damage. Mamang Dai was not big enough to be the one big core there.
Absolutely not. Let's see what our panel thinks, John. Of course, we have to head to a short break, but right after that break, we'll be back with our gorgeous panel to break down what happened in this game number 1.